I'm going to do the cons first, so we end on a positive note.
Yeah, totally. Very good. Excellent. Good.
The biggest con I'll put on the top of the list right now because it's in the media right now. It's all over social media right now. Is the cost of living. And I think that, of course, on a global scale, everybody is impacted right now, post-COVID. However, the cost of living in Canada, when I came to Canada back in 2014, I was able to rent a place for $600 a month, right? Now, landing in Canada, rent is between, let's say, $1,500 and $2,500, depending on the size of the space and all of that stuff. But rent and the cost of groceries, the cost of living has increased significantly over the last few years, and it makes it some people find it quite challenging, quite difficult, and so that would be like a somewhat of a con. However, it is relative to your personal circumstances, right? Are you a single individual? Do you have two incomes in the household? What kind of job do you have? Do you have a job and a business on the side? There are a lot of things that will determine whether the cost of living is going to be a problem for you or nonchalant for the most part. But it's pretty expensive, especially in the cities. Now, there are provinces and cities and towns that are more affordable. So outside of Toronto, outside of Vancouver, for example, probably in more rural areas, but even not necessarily rural, but just outside of those popular New York City like places, it is definitely more affordable. And so it's just relative to where you go, your personal circumstances and such. So it is relatively high, the cost of living. Everything is relative. Two, as most people will know, the weather, coming from Jamaica, the tropics, where I'd never seen snow until I came to Canada. And I came to Canada, when I landed in Canada, it was January, right? So that was like in the middle of winter. And it was like day and night for me. Like I left Jamaica and the next day I was treading in snow trying to get to school. Literally the next morning after landing. I have a crazy story as to like when I got my visa and my passport and boarded the plane all in the same day, landed, slept for 3 hours, went to school. Crazy story. It's in my book if you are interested in knowing a little bit about my story. So the weather is cold, but it's something that you just have to get used to. It's cold on the outside. Inside isn't cold. You just wear a jacket, spend less time outside. The sun will shine eventually, and it'll be warm. And another con is like, you come here, you probably left your family behind or your main support system. And so you are having to reestablish that support system, rebuild your roots, which isn't necessarily easy all the time. And it depends on, personality type, whether you're outgoing, you're more introverted, different things will determine how hard or how easy that is for you. And so sometimes, you're going to, miss home and such. One of my most difficult moments here was, I was here just after I became a permanent resident. My grandfather in Jamaica, he got sick and he started to lose his memory. So I was concerned. So I flew to Jamaica just so that he wouldn't forget me. And I was there for a little while. And then I came back, and then the week after he passed away. And, in that moment, it was kind of like, why am I here? I'm here, but should I be here? I'm missing out on my family. I had to mourn alone, even though I eventually went back for the funeral. That immediate part where the day of, I was alone. I didn't have a shoulder to cry on necessarily. And so family support, it's something that you're going to have to rebuild when you get here, which is not necessarily a con about Canada. It's just migrating in general. So on the positive side, pros, healthcare is easily accessible and available for the most part. Like healthcare is, I don't want to use the word free because we pay a lot of taxes, which is probably on the con side, but Arigato money, you pay it out in taxes and you get it back in healthcare. right? So, you have accessible healthcare, which makes it easier for us to not, have succumb to things that we probably would have succumbed to in our own countries because we didn't have accessible healthcare. The quality of living compared to where I'm from or a third world country, just the condition of the roads or the transit that is available, Amazon 2-day shipping, different things that make it kind of just a nicer quality and standard, compared to probably just an average lifestyle in a third world country or in Jamaica. And the government really takes care of you to some extent. Maternity leave. I was on maternity leave for 1 year. It was paid maternity leave. It was like 55% of my pay, but it was still paid maternity leave, which I was extremely grateful for. And it was 1 year, and it could have been 18 months if I wanted it to be. And I think that is a big plus, especially compared to countries where it's like 3 months or 3 weeks of maternity leave. I can't fathom that. And the reason I came here for is to just greater financial mobility. I don't think I would have been able to have the lifestyle that I have currently had I stayed in Jamaica. I mean, I don't know, but I was able to make more financial and career leaps, bigger than I think I would have done in the Jamaican economy.